Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today was the inauguration for the 47th President of the United States, which is Donald Trump, and he is now officially in office. He already did the oath today around 12 o'clock or noon, and also, obviously, new Vice President J.D. Vance has also assumed office, so as of me recording this, the Biden administration is officially done. It is now transitioned into the Trump administration for a second time. There was obviously a ceremony, there were performances, there was a big speech by President Trump, there were prayers and whatnot led by reverends. Pretty much the whole shebang we've gotten used to when it comes to inauguration. The president usually says a few words and whatnot. Well, in today's speech, Trump did say quite a lot, and I'll be talking about some of that in today's video. Some of it is the stuff we've already basically been hearing from Trump before the inauguration on what he planned to do. But obviously, Trump is kind of like a wild card politically, right? Probably one of the biggest wild cards in all of American political history. You know, he says or does things that obviously supporters of Trump, they think it's the right move or whatever, but it also creates a lot of confusion for other people, right? Because, you know, for instance, like the whole Greenland thing right now, right? A lot of people are confused, like, why the fuck do we even want to get Greenland in the first place? What's really the big deal with Greenland? There's a whole bunch of different stuff to talk about, but like, obviously, that's one of the biggest news stories that have kind of come out from the incoming Trump administration before all of this, right? So President Trump, during his inauguration speech, did say quite a few different things on what he plans to do for the country, even some immediate day one actions that he is planning to fulfill, which, by the way, he can actually do anything he wants right now. He has fully assumed office. He, as of me recording this, has done so about 45 minutes ago or so, right? So kind of just wanted to make this video, talk about the entire thing, because obviously it's a massive event in American history. And not only that, but there's a lot of stuff to go over here, right? So obviously Trump is now doing his second term as president of the United States. He was the 45th president between 2016 and 2017 and 2021, if you want to be technical, but he won the 2016 election, was inaugurated 2017. Obviously, Joe Biden followed him, and then he wins the election again in 2024 to become president a second time. Honestly, a pretty rare circumstance in American politics for somebody to, you know, have a presidential term, leave office for a new administration to come in, and then after that administration, they leapfrog their way back into office. In fact, out of the dozens of presidential administrations that we have had in the history of this country, only one president before Donald Trump was able to serve non-consecutive terms, that was Grover Cleveland. So it's definitely an anomaly, this presidential administration. I mean, just looking at the things we saw in the last 6 to 7 months, right? I mean, somebody attempted to take President Trump's life. It was within millimeters of killing him. The bullet strikes his ear. He jumps up. He raises his fist in the air. He yells, "Fight," to the crowd. He wins the presidential election after everything that had happened before that, you know, January 6th. All of the people who were already against him from the jump. I mean, President Trump was quite unpopular with many people, even in his, before his first term. So for somebody to stick around so long in the political scene with so much fervent hatred for him, with so many people tenaciously trying to take him out, whether it be taking his life or imprisoning him on charges, all these different things we've seen, it is such an anomaly in American history. I mean, even the fact that Trump is the only president ever to even be convicted of a felony. He is definitely a political trendsetter in American history. So President Trump has already discussed a few of the things that he plans on doing. I'm going to go ahead and highlight some of those for you here because, like I said, a lot of people are kind of confused on what they should expect because it's a new administration. You hear a lot of things all over social media and in the news and whatnot, right? And a lot of people are just simply not sure what they should expect. Well, obviously, one of the major talking points of Trump that helped him actually win this election was his stance on border security, illegal immigration, stuff like that. So, according to President Trump, he is going to declare a day one emergency today on the southern border of the United States. He claims that he's going to authorize the U.S. military to stop illegal immigrants from crossing the border. He also says that he will be stopping the catch and release program that the U.S. is currently employing. Basically, you know, they catch like somebody illegally crossing the border. They catch them, they release them into the US and give them like a court date or whatever that they have to appear at. Basically just like putting the person in the country for them, if that makes sense, until they get their court date. So Trump plans to end that and take a much stricter and tougher stance on the border, especially compared to the last administration, where the amount of illegal immigration that was coming to the United States actually exploded. Now, Trump was pretty tough on the border the first time around in comparison, but obviously the Biden administration and the Democrats in general, they are a lot more sympathetic and in favor, I guess, of the illegal immigrants and whatnot, right? So they kind of reversed a lot of those policies and started, pulling that back a little bit. Trump is planning to push it back to where it was, if not even taking it a step further to try and curb the illegal immigration going on in the United States. Another thing that he said during his speech that a lot of people picked up on and a lot of people are obviously going to take issue with, given like all of the social movements and stuff that have happened over the last few years. President Trump has announced that the official policy of the United States government is going to be that they will only recognize two genders, that being male and female. Obviously, over the last couple years especially, there's been a lot of these like moves and political movements, social movements to try and introduce like new genders and stuff like that, right? You got people going around saying they're like Zen gender and all these other things, right? They're like, there's like 40, 50, even more genders, according to some people. Well, according to President Trump and the US government, they will no longer be recognizing that at the federal level. You're either a male or a female, designated by the government. I'm sure that's probably going to piss some people off or upset them, right? But that's what President Trump has decided to do with his administration. So Trump also kind of has like this tagline that he's said many a times before, where he says drill baby drill, in reference to like oil, natural gas, and these other things. Obviously they're considered fossil fuels. They are detrimental to the environment and climate change and whatnot. And a lot of people oppose drilling and fracking and stuff like that because of these reasons. But President Trump has apparently is going to be declaring another day one emergency in our energy sector and will be authorizing more drilling and fracking to produce more oil and natural gas, which, by the way, the United States has the largest deposits of oil and stuff like that out of any country in the world. So in President Trump's eyes, he wants to drill more and more of these resources than we have been doing before, so that not only can the U.S. remain energy independent from other countries, but also that way we can export these resources and whatnot and benefit the American economy, make more money for the United States and whatnot, right? So for people who are like big into climate change and, their beliefs are like environmentalism and stuff like that, this is going to be something that they stand opposed against, obviously, because like I said, they don't want new fracking projects, they don't want more oil being drilled, things like that. But that is going to be a key focus for this administration, according to President Trump, which he is going to try and use to address numerous different circumstances at the same time. Now, another big thing that's already hit the news, because obviously Trump has been very vocal even after winning the election when he wasn't technically president but was still president-elect. We've heard a bunch of different things that people have either thought were awesome or thought were just completely ridiculous and just stupid, right? So one of those things involves the Panama Canal, which the United States did build all the way back in the day. Tens of thousands of Americans died basically building the project. The Panama Canal at the time was one of the greatest engineering feats in human history, right? And it was built by Americans. According to President Trump, he is going to do whatever he can to basically take control of the Panama Canal back for the United States. So many years ago, the U.S. basically gifted the Panama Canal to the nation of Panama. And according to President Trump, they now are basically extorting American ships. They're charging them way higher than we had agreed to them doing. They are allowing the Chinese, which is a direct foreign adversary of the United States, to essentially operate the Panama Canal, which was one of our achievements, but is now apparently being used by the Chinese and extorted against us by Panama and whatnot. So President Trump, one of his focuses is he plans on attempting to take back the Panama Canal and basically restructure it under a more U.S.-friendly control. And like I said, a lot of people, they think that this is a bad idea. They think it's going to like spark some sort of political issues with other countries. Obviously, Panama is not just like thrilled to give this back or wanting to even give it back in the first place. He's also repeatedly mentioned buying Greenland from the Denmark. So basically, this one, it's something he talked about a little bit in his first administration as well. Most people, realistically, realistically kind of see it as like a pipe dream kind of thing that's never really going to happen. From my understanding, Denmark has expressed that they are not willing to cede Greenland to the United States, but they are willing to make significant concessions to allow like the US military to operate more freely on the platform and whatnot, right? So we'll have to see how that goes. Trump has been adamant about making Greenland part of the United States, which would be one of the first massive territorial acquisitions that the United States has made in literally decades. That's even if you consider like, you know, making Alaska a state. It was a territory obviously before and whatnot, but Greenland is so huge that it would be like a Louisiana Purchase-esque kind of thing for the United States, where we've never seen that much territory, like at least in our lifetimes, obviously, brought under the command of the US. So Trump has been very adamant about trying to make that happen. He's joked about Canada joining the US and becoming a state. Obviously, I think that one is pretty out there. I don't really see that happening. That would be a very ambitious plan, to say the least, considering it's not like Greenland. Greenland is a territory of Denmark, while Canada is an own independent sovereign country, so there's obviously a difference there. But President Trump has made it very clear that he has a very ambitious platform for the United States government through the next 4 years. He plans to make a lot of massive, drastic changes, wants to slash a lot of these government agencies that he deems to be inefficient or basically useless for the American people. Obviously, with the creation of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, which is going to be headed by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. There are rumors, though, that Vivek Ramaswamy will actually be departing from that role so that he can run for governor here in the state of Ohio, where I live. So I guess we'll have to see how that works out, but Donald Trump even mentioned it today, the whole DOGE thing, basically trying to curtail U.S. federal spending to help the deficit and to help us in other areas of spending where we need it, talking about building our military up and making the strongest, greatest military that the world has ever seen, which in reality, the United States military is already that, but under President Trump's command, he plans to modernize it even more, make it more efficient, and make it even stronger. So there's a lot of ambition in this administration to make a lot of these changes, and obviously there's a lot of divide on these issues when it comes to the American people. But just to look at the transformation of Donald Trump over the last 10 years, right? He comes into the political realm a complete noob, right? He comes on stage against people like Jeb Bush, who these people are career, basically family politicians. Like in Jeb Bush's instance, you know, his brother and his father were president. He faces all of these political opponents, people like Hillary Clinton. In the first election, he wins when nobody thought that he was going to win. He leaves office with the whole January 6th thing, right? It's called an insurrection and a riot. People are even suggesting that Trump should be brought up on charges for it. He's eventually charged with all this like hush money case shit. They wanted to imprison him, essentially. I mean, we got the first mugshot for a president ever. They wanted to put the president away and make sure, realistically, not only did he basically suffer from the charges that they brought him, but also so that he could not run for president again. He ends up getting these charges and whatnot, but he still runs for president. He runs against Joe Biden. Joe Biden drops out of the election. He then faces Kamala Harris. He's shot and survives an assassination attempt, one of the only modern assassination attempts on a president we've seen. He goes on to win the election for a second time, makes history so many times with that win, and then now here we are again. I mean, whether you hate or you love or you're indifferent on Donald Trump, I don't think at this point anybody can deny that what President Trump has done is one of the greatest, craziest, most unbelievable political comebacks in all of American history. I mean, when you look through the history books, there really is no other situation or person who has quite done what Donald Trump has done. It seems like every time that people count him out, you know, oh, he's just crazy, nobody likes him, no one's ever going to vote for him, right? Every time something like this happens and Donald Trump is the underdog, he somehow finds a way to come out on top and become president. And he did it twice. He didn't do it once, he did it twice. And it's a pretty insane thing to see, because everything that we've just witnessed is absolutely, in 50 to 100 years, going to be in the history books. Now, the question is this going to be in the history books as part of a second or third or however manyth golden age for the United States, or is it going to be just another footnote in the decline of the American empire, right? So if you'd have it Trump's way, this is the beginning of a new American expansion, of a new golden era for the American people. Obviously, Trump still has many detractors who do not like him, who believe this is the rise of fascism in the United States, and this is essentially a dark age for our country. As of right now, we're only about an hour and a half or so into the new administration, so I guess we'll have to give it time to see how everything plays out, see what really Trump is able to accomplish, what he isn't able to accomplish in his second term. But with that being said, Donald Trump is officially president again of the United States. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus talking about Donald Trump's second inauguration and signing out.